Welcome to MissouriNet.com. I'm Bill Pollock. Wrapped up a busy weekend of wrestling and swimming and diving championships for the girls. And Jason West, the communications director with MSHSAA, was right in the middle of it all weekend long. Jason, a pretty successful weekend in terms of wrestling. We'll start there, and then we'll get into the swimming and diving. But pretty good crowds despite some of that weather we had Saturday.
That's very true. Our attendance figures were right on pace, maybe a little bit better this year as compared to the last couple of years. But even with the weather, people still came out and were able to enjoy some great wrestling.
There were some historic moments at the wrestling championships at Mizzou Arena, and we'll start with Class 1, where something that has only happened twice ever, the second time this has ever happened. Can you talk about Jaden Clayton from Father Tolton, Columbia, and the feat that he pulled off this weekend? It's quite remarkable.
That is very true. Not only was Jaden able to win his fourth consecutive title and become one of the rare feats that we have for wrestling and becoming a four-time champion, Jaden also finished his high school career with an undefeated record, and that it had only happened once before. So Jaden finishes with a record of 158-0 and became only the second wrestler all time in Missouri history to go undefeated through his high school career.
That's fascinating. And he's going to Mizzou, so you Mizzou wrestling fans out there who are excited about this national dual championship, it looks like good things are on the horizon for them. You know, Jason, I was there and saw Jaden's opening match. I mean, a lot of talented wrestlers, but well, I tell you, there was just something about him you could tell. And me not being a big wrestling expert, it's one of those things where you can look at him and you just say, boy, you know what, he's got something special. And there were a lot of those kids this weekend.
There are, and you saw that a lot with some of the elite wrestlers that we have. A few years ago, we saw that with Jaden Cox. That was at Hickman, is now at Mizzou, and is a national champion for the Tigers. They're just able to flip a switch, and things may be going along, you know, and you think, oh my gosh, this may be the match that it happens, and all of a sudden the switch, the light comes on, and it's a 20-7 final. So there, you saw that a lot this weekend, not just with Jaden, but with a lot of the wrestlers too.
And it's such an individualized sport, but there's also the team aspect involved. And, you know, one thing that I noticed when you look at the past champions, and you look, no matter what class, you look and there'll be a long line where school will go on a run and then another school. And it's one of those where you kind of get a dynasty built up with your team, and you go on these nice runs. And we've kind of seen that in all the classes where all the team champions have all put together nice strings.
We really did. 3 of our 4 team champions this year are schools that have repeated 3 consecutive times now. And then in Class 1, Whitfield won again this year, and that's 3 out of the last 4 for them. But Park Hill in Class 4, Neosho Class 3, and then also Oak Grove in Class 2 have all won 3 straight. And it also speaks for the programs that not necessarily won the team title, but the programs like Seneca and Holt and Platte County that have been traditionally strong wrestling programs. You know, they're also winning team trophies this year as well.
We've got all of those results posted for you on both of our websites at MissouriNet.com. And then, of course, MSHSAA's website, MSHSAA.org. So a successful weekend in terms of wrestling. All right, let's go over to swimming and diving because, you know, this doesn't get a lot of publicity, but it's a very important sport. I know the dedication that's involved in it. My wife was a high school swimmer, and you talk about dedication and putting in the number of hours for the training and the practices and then the meets. A lot of time, huge commitment by these student athletes. And the girls' championships were this weekend in St. Peter's. And you had some interesting things happen this weekend, too.
We did. From the beginning, we knew it was going to be interesting because we had a record number of 78 schools that had participants at this year's championship, and had never had that many schools Just in the diving competition alone, there were 51 divers that qualified. So we knew there were going to be a few interesting things happen. But on Saturday for the championships, we had two young ladies actually tie for the championship in the 100 breaststroke. And for all the technology advances that have come in track and field and swimming and things like that, to still be able to have a tie, you know that those two young ladies were really booking it in the water.
Yeah, what happened? So do they both win? Is that how it works? I mean, you can't have a swim off because they're probably exhausted at that point.
Exactly. No, they both get gold medals. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, you're right. In this time, down to the thousandths of seconds or however you work that out. And then diving is certainly a sport that's catching on. And there's a young girl by the name of Kat Fries who had a big weekend too.
Yes, Kat from MICDS. She won her third diving individual title. So that's a feat that has not happened too many times. On the girls' side, we've had a couple of divers on the boys' side that have been able to win 3 and 4 times. But on the girls' side, Kat was able to do something that hasn't been done very often. One of the other kind of anomalies, if you will, and to show how competitive this year's championships were in the 50 freestyle, the young lady from Jackson who won was actually in lane 8. So for those that know the racing sports like track and field and swimming, the best times coming out of prelims are kind of seated in the middle of the track or in the middle lanes of the pool. So if you're on the outside, you kind of have a disadvantage, if you will. So to be able to come back and from lane 8 and win the 50 is a nice feat as well.
Yeah, and because you're getting the wake, and then you've got the wall next to you, and so there's a lot of things that are going against you. Caitlin Palmer was her name from Jackson. That's an amazing feat.
Yeah, that just shows how competitive this year's championships were.
Outstanding. Well, so a good weekend overall for wrestling and girls swimming and diving. Now I think we've got basketball next. Is that what's on the horizon? You guys don't have much time to catch your breath over there in Columbia, do you?
We have just a little bit, but that's not a problem at all. District basketballs tournaments for Class 1, 2, and 3 are going to be starting up this week. They were scheduled to start on Saturday, but with the weather, quite a few of them got postponed and delayed, and so they'll be really kicking up this week with games pretty much every night.
What are the dates, real quick, and of course we'll follow up with you next week too. But what are the dates that people should mark their calendars off for the basketball?
Well, the districts start this week, and we'll go through Saturday for classes 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll have sectionals and quarterfinals. I believe the quarterfinals will be on Saturday, March the 7th. With the semifinals and finals being at Mizzou Arena March 12th, 13, and 14. That's for classes 1, 2, and 3. And then classes 4 and 5 will get kick-started the following week, and then those championships will be March 19, 20, and 21 at Mizzou Arena.
All right, it's heating up. March Madness. It's here. I mean, you get a couple weeks to catch your breath and then right back at it. So we'll follow up with you next week, get an update on as sectionals, and look forward to the Final Four up at Mizzou Arena.
Sounds great.
Jason West from MSHSAA, their communications director, joining us on this Google Hangout. And for more high school sports, log on to MissouriNet.com. I'm Bill Pollack. Thanks for watching.